Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer. This is Metatrona speaking. I have two short stories for you today. One is me channeling Horus, who is an Egyptian god, first time ever. And another one is just a conversation that I was having with God or Creator. So I'm going to give you both of those. So at first, I was trying to channel Ra. And so I was asking him if he wanted to channel, and he said, "Let us speak." And of course, I feel the sun energy from him because that's what Ra always does for me. And that sun energy from him was making me aware that I had some low vibrational energies in my energy field because when he did that, the light of his energy made me feel a little sick. And that's because it was making the low vibrational energies feel a little sick. So Odin and Ra both have stayed with me since that original channeling. So Odin has taken place on my right side, normally where Metatron is. Metatron is standing just like one person farther away now. And so I have Odin really close to me on my right. And Odin has been removing um, any entities that are not supposed to be in my body. He's been my best friend and he's been helping me remove all of them. Um, so Odin was helping me pull them out in this case as well. So Ra, while Odin is pulling things out, Ra kind of lifts up my chin and he removes something from my neck. And the fact that both of them were removing things was probably not a good sign. So I said, "It's pretty bad, isn't it?" And Ra said, "There are a lot of them." And so I was asking him, "Ra, am I channeling you?" And he says, "No." So I said, "Who am I channeling?" And then my head goes straight up. So I know that I'm channeling a god. And I have to ask, "Is this an Egyptian god?" And he says, "Yes." And then I got a little bit nervous and I was going through the gods trying to figure out who it was. And it ended up being Horus. So Horus radiates a strong energy. It was very unique. It almost felt like these little lasers all over me, shining through my body. Um, and his energy was strong enough that it actually made my body feel like my body was being pushed back a bit. So he's got a lot of energy. Um, so he turned down some of the God energy, which is what that was that he was giving me. And I start feeling like a love energy from him instead. It's more like something that feels familiar to me. And it's almost like he has these many arms that are reaching out to kind of feel me and remember me as well. So he put my head down and he started pulling out things from my crown chakra. And then he put something in there that was glowing, and I had to ask Metatron to show me what it was. And it was, you'll have to Google this if you don't know what it is, but it was an Eye of Horus symbol that was glowing that he put inside my crown chakra. And so when he did that, my focus just felt super on point after that. And I said something to him like, "What a gift." And he smiled at me. Um, and he felt really similar to Creator. He is, he's interesting because the way he feels similar to Creator is that his energy is like a mass of energy, the same way Creator is, where it doesn't feel like an individual, it feels like a collective. So I'll just say that. Um, Oh, and then this was strange. So he put a crown on my head, and it was like a crown that had all these points along it, and like the taller points were in the center, and the kind of smaller ones along the edges. And it was silver, And then I noticed that I had silver bracelets on, and the bracelets had chains that were like looping back to under my arm. And I felt very light and ethereal when I was viewing myself like this. And so I felt like I was in charge of something celestial, and my brain was coming up with the answer of moving stars, which was interesting. And so I asked him, "Is this something that I've been before? Whatever it is that you're showing me." And he says, "Yes." And I asked him, "And you were here too?" And he says, "Yes." And I asked him, "Well, what did you do?" Because I can see myself that I'm like this bluish white, glowing female with this some kind of goddess or something. I don't even know what I was. Um, and so I asked him what he did, and I see a man, but he's just an outline, and the outline is in fire. And I can see that he has this like one person chariot that he drives across the sky. And so I asked him, "Was this before there were planets?" And he says, "Yes." And then he starts letting me channel him, and he says, "Long ago, we were but gods in the heavens, moving the stars, changing alignments, building the cosmos. Our playground was the stars. There were none to worship us. We existed to work, but it was play too. We created the constellations carefully, precisely. Planets were moved into place long before they were inhabited. We kept the skies in order, in balance, in perfect motion. I too was in balance for a time. Over time, I gravitated more towards fire, destruction, war, anger. Anything in excess becomes unhealthy over time. It becomes limiting, a prison even, to allow imbalances within the body and mind. There cannot be growth of the person without the cycles of emotion to constantly tear down the old and rebuild the new. By getting stuck in one part of the cycle, your growth ceases. Tearing down and building up are equally important parts. Learning new information and integrating that information are equally important parts, just as training your muscles and rest are equally important to the athlete. Too much of one thing stagnates your process. If you feel stuck in one part of your life, try a different approach. Contemplate what you already know instead of pushing to learn more. Rest instead of train. Tear down before starting to build. One part of the cycle naturally leads to movement of the next step. If you tend to get stuck in the same emotion, try to focus on another emotion to bring yourself back into a balance between them. If you tend to get stuck in anger, focus on gratitude. If you tend to get stuck in sadness, focus on joy. Spending time in these emotions is beneficial, but being stuck in any of them is unhealthy over time. So that is the end of Horus's message. The other message that I want to give to you is an interaction that I had with Creator. He asked me to channel, and he starts off by showing me a visual where I'm looking at Earth from space. And I refer to him as I am, and he says, "It is peaceful," meaning Earth, "from this view. It is easier to sense the miracle of Earth from this perspective. It is clear it is a divine work. When looking from this view, above the noise, above the storms, there is clarity. Let's look around." And so when he says, "Let's look around," he turns away from the earth and he's just going off in a different direction in space. And so I asked, "Where are we going?" And like creator, he says, "Where do you want to go?" And so I'm like a little kid, I'm like, "Ooh, this is fun." And so I said, "To the planets you haven't shown me yet, because I always want to see something new." So he takes me to a planet. It's like a small brown planet. Doesn't look very exciting. We get closer as we're zooming in on this planet and like landing on it, and I see that there are reptilians. And so I said, "This is the reptilian planet?" And he says, well, he nods, yes. I don't know why. I never really thought about there being a reptilian planet. It's kind of dumb because, of course, they have to have a planet, but I just never thought about it. So, anyways, so we're on the reptilian planet. It looks like a military base. And so I was like, this can't be the whole planet. So I asked him, "Can you show me where they live?" Everything is a dusty, dirty brown, no plant life. He shows me the houses. They're like, they're made of rocks. There's like a giant rock that's been like carved out almost. That is the house. It looks impoverished. I ask him, "Was it always like this?" He says, "No. The cyborgs took everything and enslaved them. They have the metal bars under their skin too." This is a reference to metal bars, metal plates that I've seen every time the cyborgs and reptilians go to a planet and enslave the people. There are like these bars that seem to always go, or plates seem to always go on the back of the neck. Sometimes they're on like the forearms or other places as well. So he references they have metal bars or plates under their skin too. They are willing participants, believing that it is everyone else's fault that their planet was harvested. They do not understand it was the cyborgs, because the cyborgs came cloaked in other identities when they destroyed the planet. They believe the cyborgs are their partners to seek justice. It is the same with the Draconians. Their planet was harvested by the cyborgs too. The rogue members of other races that have joined the cyborgs have believed their lies. They believe that it was the Galactic Council who was responsible for these planetary wars. They are angry and are unconsciously reacting from that emotional space, and it allows the truth to be disregarded. I want to show you something else. So we go away from that planet, and he takes me to another planet, and it's a very green planet. And I can see that it has like volcanic structures and really dense vegetation. And so I'm like, okay, we just went to the reptilian planet. Is this the draconian planet? He says, no. Do you want to know what was on this planet? There were dinosaurs on the planet. And so I'm like, "You still have a planet with dinosaurs?" And he says, "Yes," and he's smiling really big. And creator loves dinosaurs. I've talked to him about them a couple times. He's like the biggest kid. Like that's one of his first creations, and I think it's one of his favorite creations. And So he still has a so the dinosaurs aren't dead. They're just somewhere else, I guess. They're dead here, but they live on somewhere else. But I after he showed me the planet, and that's the end of the vision, by the way, that's the end of what he showed me. Um, I just kind of realized he has this dinosaur planet, and I just thought of like all the all the people or all the little kids who like love dinosaurs and they pass away. And I bet you anything he takes them there and just shows them all the dinosaurs. And he probably just gets the biggest kick out of it because he loves surprising us and making us happy. So I'm sure there are lots of people that he's taken there to see his dinosaurs that are still alive. But, anyways, so those are the two stories that I wanted to share with you. So until next time, everyone, see you later. Bye bye.